What is up, down, and sideways, all you beautiful people? It is League Unlock right here, right now. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and it's rare that we get a fresh LCS series to talk about before the weekend is even hit. But when you got 4 series that are going over the weekend, they start flying early.
And to be honest, I'm split about talking about this LCS series because on one hand, it's going to be exciting. There's going to be some praise. There's going to be some hype to go down, talking about some good North American League of Legends. On the other side, we got to be talking about some disappointment and underperformance.
Yeah, and of course, we're talking C9. We're talking EG. Loser eliminated. No worlds for them. It was a little early, maybe even to have such high stakes in these matches. But obviously, the disappointment comes at the hands of EG because it was a 3-0 in favor of Cloud9, and for all the hype, all the highs, all the MVP and all pro talk that Evil Geniuses have had all split long, they end the season tied for 5th, 6th, which is what happened in spring. They get the same result as spring after all this, Mark.
It feels like going to a slot machine and having like a 4 out of 10 chance to get the jackpot and pulling it 10 times and coming up 0 every single time. You know that there are odds there for EG to get the better performance, to show up and find their advantages and take and punish Cloud9 at times. That execution, that mechanical play, and even the decision making that started to fall through in this series was not to that level for EG.
You know what's going to be painful is I could easily see when they do announce MVP it being Jizuke, and just you got to give the awards before deep in the playoffs. We've seen that in the NBA all the time. Give the awards earlier, but yes. Jizuke did not look great. Svenskeren started game 1, and then it was contracts in game 2 and 3. To be honest, the jungle swap didn't really have any impact on Evil Geniuses. We will praise Cloud9 because you called it out. We've been asking for it for a long time. We need playoff perks and MVP Blabber, and this is the closest we've gotten to those two forms, I feel like, in not weeks, months.
And the good thing, the best thing about that and seeing those performances come through is not only do they just actually happen and we can talk about them, but is realizing that when you talk about the disappointment on the EG side, a large part of that has to go to just being simply outperformed by these Cloud9 players. The challenge that was issued to them that should be the standard for these players was met and exceeded in this playoff series. Yes, Blabber, Perks, the ones that we had our eye on for sure. Of course, Fudge was your big workhorse carry in the top side doing fine, and your bottom lane was able to handle what was going on with Danny and Ignar. That was good things from Cloud9.
I think the biggest thing with Cloud9, because we've always talked about Fudge standing out even when Cloud9 was struggling, there were lots of issues you could look out throughout the split, but the biggest ones, Blabber and Perks were not supposed to just hold their own on this squad. They're supposed to be best in their role and in the MVP conversation week in and week out, which of course we didn't see throughout the majority of the summer split. They showed up in a big way. In the 3 games, by the way, Blabber, Perks, and Sven combined, all 3 of them only had 7 deaths. Between 3 of them.
That is some clean gameplay going on from the Cloud9 squad. And you're right, we have talked about the consistency and the star power that Fudge has brought since the MSI, growth that he has had in the summer split. But yes, the biggest importance was on getting Blabber and Perks to perform at this level. And you have even Fudge talking about how much Perks has struggled individually in his own lane in that matchup. And then to get it to go this way when it mattered most in a playoff series and against someone like Jizuke who has been performing well, good to see.
It's especially nice seeing Perks pull out the LeBlanc in a playoff series. We've seen some of the greatest LeBlanc performances of all time from this dude on the international stage. Not quite putting it in that category when you're playing EG in round 3 of the LCS playoffs. But if you want to see them performing internationally, you want to see them even getting a ticket to Worlds, then the mid-jungle needs to be playing at this level. And to be honest, still a bit higher, but it's a step forward for sure.
Right, this is progress for Cloud9, and as long as it continues for them, right, if they're able to win their next match and make that trip to Worlds, that is the good path for North America as we're looking at. As you said, we got the LeBlanc with Perks, yes, but we want more. We still need more, and I think Cloud9 fans can be asking for more from these two high-profile players. Not quite Luka the Bazooka levels yet.
No, not quite, but like I said, we're getting there. And the big thing is Cloud9, they're laughing again. This is a team with all the personalities on here. They love talking smack, and they love having fun while they're playing the game, which when they were dominating, you saw that on and outside of the Rift. But it feels like we've been a little bit removed from seeing that. So good to see them happy after this EG series. But the work's not done for them. They need to win one more best of 5 before they are clinching that coveted world spots. Everyone assuming it's going to be last summer all over again with TSM versus Cloud9 for that final world spot. There's no chance Immortals play spoilers, right, Mark? There's no chance.
A small chance. There is absolutely a small chance. Part of that is due to the nature of TSM. And of course, anytime you got Hooney and we got Sword Art making a couple of funny plays and, Power of Evil's flashing into a wall and lost his face check and those type of things, absolutely. There's a world where Immortals can find their way into this series with enough skill, with players like Insanity, what they can do. I'm hard-pressed to see it happen often enough or severe enough in this series for TSM.
We're assuming it's going to be TSM as it should be, and if they lose to Worlds, of course they don't deserve to go to Worlds. But then we have TSM versus Cloud9 on the Sunday, and it's a repeat from summer 2020 last year, and I'm hard-pressed to pick who's going to come away with that one. I would definitely favor Cloud9, but I feel like people were doing that in 2020 as well.
Yeah, the favorite has to be Cloud9. I think regardless on how you're looking at this on paper, there's no way to make that argument for TSM to be the favorite. Same time, that's something that we have seen play into TSM's favor into these underdog type matchups against a Cloud9. As you said, last year was a similar situation, different rosters. Let's see it again, but I think that this time for Cloud9, there's absolutely zero shortage of motivation for this match. Not only is it a chance for the members that are still there for redemption at being denied a world's chance and opportunity last year, but for players like Perks, this is the opportunity that you want when you come to North America, not only stacking up your bank account, but making salty TSM fans cry. That's what you always hear about the EU fans trash talking.
And if Perks already went to MSI, if he goes to Worlds and his G2 pals don't go to either, imagine a world where he doesn't even get a chance to meet up against Caps on the international stage.
Man, that's I don't want to live in a world.
It's a dark
like
time.
I'd love this. I would. That's the matchup that everybody wants to be seeing.
Both squads got to take care of a little bit of business. It was World Elite taking care of some business earlier today over in the LPL. We got a 5-game set between them and Rare Atom, and I'll tell you what, this did not look like it was going to be going 5 games because the first 2 looking good from World Elite. Honestly, Rare Atom looked like they forgot to show up to this series. Then Game 3 rolls around and they give Fofo Irelia, and you get one of the most one-sided mid lane matchups that you are ever going to see at 13 minutes, Mark. 13 minutes into the game, 3-level lead over the Syndra, 11-8, and 55 CS he was up. 13 minutes in!
You get through game 1 and game 2, and you've got 2 conflicting thoughts. Because number 1, you're thinking, oh, this is the WE that we've seen so far in playoffs. Nobody's been able to take a game off of them. They've been so clean and so dominant. But at the same time, you're wondering, because you're looking at this matchup, and as good as Shanks has been, you're saying, well, where's Fofo? Fofo is this type of threat. He is this player that can generate these type of advantages and plays like this. They let him get the Aurelia, and
yeah, we found him in game 3.
Absolutely. Lost and found, he's absolutely locked into the game. Found big time for the squad, and this is where it started to get real dicey for WE.
Yeah, and then that momentum completely carried over into game 4, and for whatever reason, World Elite said, you know what, Irelia wasn't the problem the last game. It's fine. We can take that. Oh, okay. After game 4, gets the Irelia again. It's another pretty convincing win in the favor of Rare Atom, and they say, okay, maybe the Irelia is a bit of a problem heading into that 5th game. And you know what? That was a good call.
Yes, thankfully for the WE fans, they figured that one out and got that changed around. And the game 5 performances from Shanks, from Elk, from Beishang, everybody on WE was at a game 5 level. Silver Scrapes, they were hyped up, and they're saying our run is not over yet. They continue, they punch through a WE victory.
Yeah, it wasn't the banger Game 5 people were probably hoping for. It was pretty one-sided, this time in the favor of World Elite, which is impressive in its own right to bounce back from, again, almost getting reverse swept, dropping 2 games in a row. Shanks gets the redemption on that Syndra because that's what he played in Game 3 when he got absolutely manhandled. And Lian had a rough go in this game. He finished 1-6-2 on the Diana. The early game was really not good. World Elite had a 3K gold lead at 10 minutes, and Lian didn't have fun.
I can't remember exactly if it was Game 3 or 4 where he actually did have a relatively good game, but then outside of that, this series was one to forget for Lian, specifically outshined by his opponent Beishang, and let alone his impact with his own team was not up to the level that was necessary to help Rare Adam compete. I think the other one that we really do need to look at individually, we've talked a lot about Shanks and Fofo, is Elk. Again, I want to talk about him and the job that he was doing in the bottom lane. Hey, going toe-to-toe with iBoy and the way that iBoy wants to play in the playoffs, that's no small feat to take on.
Yeah, and Elk, we're accustomed to having him either on the cusp or in that all-pro conversation when it comes to 80 carries in the LPL, which, by the way, there's some pretty good 80 carries in the LPL. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that one. But yeah, Elk, especially on the Ezreal in this series, and we've seen him do it on countless champions, one of the most exciting and almost always go-to guys to watch on this World Elite roster. Whoever had World Elite and LNG in the top 4 heading into this bracket, kudos to you. Congrats. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, a lottery winner over there, because I can guarantee if you've made that prediction already, you already had the lottery tickets waiting for yourself on that. Man, I love it. There's a meme going around on Weibo from the LPL of the Grim Reaper, right? Grim Reaper knocking on each door, making their way through. But it's mirrored on both sides because it's LNG.
It's a race,
it is
the speed run.
Absolutely. And yes, the quality in the bracket runs has to be different. I think a lot of people will weigh LNG's success a lot higher than WE's. But at the end of the day, all they're asking is, did you make it through your series? Did you knock on the door and take down your opponent? They both have so far, and they're still alive in this wild LPL playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely been a harder road for LNG, beating Top Esports and RNG. But listen, Billy and Rare Adam were some of the most hyped up teams momentum-wise coming into this playoff run. And RA, there's a reason that they got a top 4 seed. They were that good in the regular season and that competitive against the best in the LPL. So don't take anything away from this run so far for World Elite. These couple of LPL matchups are only a fraction of the madness that's going to be this weekend. You have FPX and EDG both making their playoff debuts. It's been a while against World Elite, we just talked about, and LNG. But this weekend it's going to be the craziest and most hyped up, high stakes weekend of League of Legends action for the whole year. Doesn't matter when Worlds is around. You've got these world qualification matches across the globe, semifinals everywhere. It's the most action-packed weekend of the year.
And it's crazy because we've already been on a run of some fantastic games since pretty much Thursday, running through into this weekend. And yes, it only is going to get better, guys. This is one. Cancel your weekend plans. Sit your butts in some chairs. Get on that internet and watch some League of Legends. Tell mom and dad, I'm watching video games, my man. That is what you're doing this weekend. Yes, so many hype matchups. Doesn't matter what type of region you're a fan of, what type of play, what type of players, what type of champions you're a fan of. I guarantee, tune into some LoL eSports and you're going to see what you want to see this weekend.
Couple of those LPL matches, as I mentioned. G2 versus either Fnatic or Misfits for a world spot. Cloud9 versus either TSM or Immortals for a world spot. T1 versus Gen G. Damwon versus Nongshim in the semifinals of the LCK. Which match are you most excited for, Mark? There's a lot to pick from.
Personally, everyone, we've got to roll with the T1 fan base side. Of course, very excited for that showdown. And I mean, just even more so from the fan perspective, it is to see what's going to happen. Well, who's going to show up? Are we going to see Gen G, the Gen G that 3-0 T1 in the spring playoffs? Are we going to see the Gen G that's getting smacked down by Damwon, getting smacked down by T1, getting smacked down by anybody in the latter half of the LCK summer split? That one is one I'm certainly excited about. How can you not be excited about the LPL games, my man? You've got FPX, EDG playing again. You've got, of course, talked about LNG and WE's runs to get there. Now we're going to get the lower bracket in. Now we're finally going to get some extra stuff going on in the LPL.
They've hit a checkpoint now.
Course,
like WE and LNG, they hit a checkpoint now where you get an extra life. They've done a far enough run where they get a bonus life now.
And you know what? Deservedly so from what they've done so far in playoffs to get to this point. And then you can't even sleep on that LCS and LEC drama. As you said, they might not be the type of matchups that can stack up against what we've already hyped. But as far as drama goes, talking about TSM, oh my God, if they lose to an Immortals, that's drama there. TSM Cloud9 always holds drama. And then in the LEC, Misfits, this incredible run that they've been on to deny a chance for Fnatic and G2, that storied rivalry. There's so much this weekend. It is just going to be so much fun.
For me, I want to see G2. It doesn't matter if they play Misfits or Fnatic, because if this roster, when Reckless was announced coming, we were talking about them winning Worlds. Not winning the LEC, winning Worlds, and they don't even qualify for Worlds. I don't know what my mind will do, Mark.
And we already talked about, their failure in spring and how much, again, the only answer that was acceptable for a lot of people was, let alone going to the finals, but being the MSI representative. None of that happened for the G2 organization. It needs to change for summer. You're absolutely right that this is do or die for them situation.
It's going to be a spicy recap on Monday. We'll be here for it all. Hope you guys enjoy whichever games, all the games, however many games you watch this weekend. But yes, pace yourself, stay hydrated, and do the posture checks. But that's it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll catch you on that flippity flip.